One of the worst backswings we tend to see a lot by amateurs is amateurs who try and keep their head down and then they tuck it. And now, like, there is nowhere to go here, so they compensate. We want their head nice and relaxed. I'm not saying don't keep an eye on the ball. I'm not saying some people kept their head relatively still, but a lot of great players would have had a little bit of rotation in that head, like so.
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Padraig Harrington.
Okay, welcome back to Paddy's Golf Tips. Let's talk about a great backswing. Obviously, if you make a great backswing, it's harder for things to go wrong. So what is a great backswing? Okay, so generally what I see with recreational golfers is they will, how will I put this, cheat their backswing. They'll make a compensation to make what they think is a better backswing, and then it pulls them out of what would be the ideal, powerful, solid position. So what happens in the backswing, right? We want to kind of make a one-piece move. So the club literally moves as a triangle and it pushes into that right heel. The right foot is kind of resisting it. So I get to there. Pretty much nothing has moved but that triangle to there. From there, right, that's a one-piece solid takeaway. From there, we start to lift the club and hinge our wrists. Obviously, you see some people go a bit longer. That causes a bit of a flail, but in a standard swing, you get a gradual hinge of the wrists at this point, a little bit of a lift of the arms to about that point, okay? Now that's short in everybody's mind, that is really short, okay? But watch this. Left arm parallel, club pointing straight up, kind of on plane. So that on plane would mean it's on the angle pointing to the golf ball. That would be steep, that would be flat. I've got it pointing down to there, straight on the line, so it's on plane. And watch what I do from there. From there, the end of the backswing is actually, nowadays, not years ago, it was resist with your hips and people would lift, which loses all the power and accuracy. But nowadays we realize we've pushed into that right side, we lift into here, and from this point on we're turning our hip. So it's the turn of your hip that lets the shoulders turn and get to a finish. That's going to be parallel, by the way, when I swing at a golf ball. So it's one piece to here, little bit of relaxed lift here, and from here, you're completing your backswing by turning that hip. Now watch, as I turn that hip, if anything, my heel turns a little bit out. That's going to help with my downswing. So here, and the completion of the backswing is that hip turn allows the shoulders to turn into that chin, like so. Okay, you'll see my head moves a bit. One of the worst backswings we tend to see a lot by amateurs is amateurs who try and keep their head down and then they tuck it. And now, like, there is nowhere to go here, so they compensate. We want their head nice and relaxed. I'm not saying don't keep an eye on the ball. I'm not saying some people kept their head relatively still, but a lot of great players would have had a little bit of rotation in that head, like so. It tucks into the shoulder. But again, the completion of the backswing is the lifting of that heel and the turning of the hips get the club up. So basically you're not doing anything more with your arms. You're finishing off with a hip turn. Turning up into that right leg. We don't try and keep the right knee in place. That was something in the 80s. We let it straighten up a little. We don't lock it out either, but we do let it rise and up into that right side. Again, by making the finish of the swing with that hip turn. Now the beauty of that, I know we're only talking about backswing, when you got there you have somewhere to go because your heel is up, so you can push down, out with that foot to start your downswing. So the backswing is all about, I will say, if you strike the ball great, don't worry about this, but some of the guys, they can get the club hooded in the backswing, a bowed wrist. If that's natural to you, fine. And it's not a bad way of playing to have a very strong wrist, which is a strong club face, but it's not great for short shots, wedge shots and chip shots. It's hard to time the shorter shots where you're only making a quarter or a half swing. So if you break your wrist that way. So we're much better off having a neutral setup. So we have the wrist flat and it hinges under the thumb and the forefinger like so. That's a full backswing there. We got all the energy out if you got that in camera. So here, and then we complete it with a turn, with a hip turn to allow our shoulder turn get to the top. As you can see, by me rotating that heel out a little bit in the backswing, you can see how much bigger my shoulder turn. If I kept my feet in position, there's my shoulder turn. By me rotating that, you can see without much, no different in effort to me, but my shoulder turn is going to be a lot greater, a lot bigger. But we're trying to keep that wrist nice and flat. We don't want it cupped, that would be too steep. Bowed, as I said, has worked for a lot of players, but it's not great for chipping. So pull it into that right side. Lift, complete with a turn of your hips. You can see that's leaning. If anything, I've set it so that I'm already leaning into my left side by this point. That's why I always like that stepping drill. You can see the timing. I'm about here. I'm finishing with, I'm stepping forward, but my body is still turning back. That's how you make a great backswing. The big key here is, as much as you'll hit the ball further with a higher hands and a bigger backswing and even a longer club head, you will only hit it further if everything else stays. Everything stays the same. Everything stays within tension. The minute you go, if this was really nice and ready to go, ready to stretch into the downswing, the minute you cheat and lift, even though it's a higher ramp and would technically go further if that with everything was equal, you've lost all the control and you've actually lost your connection. You've got your ability to pull on it is struggling. So lifting the club off plane or out of position is counterproductive. You're much better off swinging your swing, and if you're tight at that position, you're going to hit it your furthest and be under the most control. And remember, every time you take a practice swing, it has to be shorter than the real swing, because the dynamic part of hitting a golf ball will make that club travel quite a bit further. So when you take a practice swing, it should only ever be to there, and when you go to hit it, it will go much longer. Let's see if I can do that. So even though, another thing, short practice swings are very good for you. They do create more speed. They get everything working in sync. So just like so. That would do me very nicely. I think I'll stick to that. Anyway, that's what it is to backswing. Please do not make, and I especially see this as a very common trait. Maybe this is the bonus one for ladies. The best lady golfers I saw growing up were all hockey players, field hockey players. And they had a rule that you couldn't lift the stick higher than your shoulder playing field hockey. So they had short swings, which made them go and hit it. So if you're there, you'll go after it, which is great for speed. So the best ones were that, and the ones who struggled were the ones with flexibility and with lift. And the minute you lift, the minute you're going to lose control, not just control, you're going to lose power and speed. You want to play with what you think is about there, half swing. And then, as you can see, the minute I go to hit it, it drops onto parallel. So one piece to your right leg, bit of hinge, don't go overboard, it doesn't have to be too much. Nice relaxed hinge, finish with your hip turn, your right hip coming back a little bit at you, and that gives you somewhere then to press and go after it in the downswing. That's all there is to the backswing. If you have a comment or suggestion about future videos, please put it in the comments below. If you enjoyed or found these videos helpful, please like or subscribe down below to encourage me to do more.